Beginning in the early part of the 19th century, the expanding Christian powers of the Balkans and the Caucasus forced the Muslims from their homes, exiled them from their homes. This began in the early days in Serbia and in the southern part of Greece, the Morea or the Peloponnesus. It extended in the Caucasus to the areas that the Russians moved into. And gradually over the period of time until the 1877-78 war between Russia and the Ottomans, up to that point, the Muslims were gradually pushed out. In that war, the really big attack began. In that war, about 50%, a little more than 50% of the Muslims of Bulgaria were forced out, were forced into what remained of the Ottoman Empire, or were killed. In other areas like the Dobruja that was taken by Romania, 90% of the Muslims were forced out or killed. In the Serbian and Montenegrin conquests, more than 80% of the Muslims were killed or were forced out of their homes. It was not quite as bad in the 1877-78 war in eastern Anatolia, but it was really horrible just before that when the Circassians, the Cherkess, and the Abkhaz were forced out of their home. When they were forced out, about 1.5 million, actually 1.2 million Muslims, Circassians, Abkhazians, were forced out. 1/3 of them died. So it's horrible, horrible death rate. By the time the 1877-78 war was over, between 7 and 8% of the population of the Ottoman Empire was migrants, was people that had come in from another place. Now, the Ottoman Empire was poor. It was very difficult to feed these people. It was very difficult for them to survive. Today, people in Europe complain about the refugees coming to their country. They say how terrible it is. But in a country like Italy, where there is much complaint, only 1% of the population are refugees. In the Ottoman Empire, much poorer, 7% were refugees. So it was really horrible. Then, of course, everything got much worse in 1912 with the Balkan Wars. In the Balkan Wars, of course, it's hard to remember numbers exactly, but in the Balkan Wars, I believe 27%, 1/4 of the Muslims, most of them Turks, some Albanians, of Europe were killed. About the same percentage of people were forced out of their homes. So this is some of the most awful situation that ever struck a population. The deaths of so many hundreds of thousands of people. In the end, more than 5 million Muslims died in this time, which is a tremendous number given that there weren't all that many to begin with.